Jamie is beyond her passionate BA title and truly embodies business analysis and adding value to those around her every day. An accomplished speaker, author, and trainer, she enjoys sharing with others ways to improve their analysis skill sets, unique ways to look at the world, and how to be more productive with measurable results. You can find her speaking around the world, both in person and online, on topics on business analysis, process improvement, project and change management, and productivity and leadership. She is an accomplished author with her book, 7 Steps to Mastering Business Analysis, second edition, and has published courses on LinkedIn and Pluralsight. When she's not collaborating with her business partners, you can find her collaborating with her friends and family on the Hawaiian waters on a surfboard. And we at the IBA South Florida chapter are so excited to have her here today speaking with us. And we hope that you enjoy it as much as we do. So I'll hand it over to you, Jamie. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, so excited to be here. All right. We have a microphone, we have a picture, and we just need then swap to the slides.
Swap the slides.
There we go. Do I have any data analysts in the room or online? Do we have like people who self-identify with data analysis? Not that way. Let's see, do I have any BAs online? Okay. Let's see. Oh, all right, I think we're there. All right. So, and if anyone wants to ask questions about certifications, I've got like, yeah, I'm a certification junkie and I have nothing better to do than to find another one. But they're great because they really do make us learn. So we're good to go, right? Okay, here's some things that we're gonna walk through. I'm gonna be fast but fun, hopefully, on here. Questions to use our data. So you don't have to be a data scientist. I am not a data scientist. I don't know R and Python. Don't ask me anything. I Google how to do everything in an Excel spreadsheet. So this is the level, like the business side of business analysis. How we're going to communicate about our data. That's one of our biggest deals here. And I've seen data analysts struggle. They get the really cool insights and they can't explain them. Because remember, it's all about business value because it's the smarter, more informed decision making. It's normally for a purpose. Data does not exist because data feels like it. Data exists to help us make an informed decision, change our direction, think of the actions we're going to take. All right, so using our data. Who feels like they're data informed? Woo! Okay, how many of you are data driven? All right, what if we just want to use the data, right? Okay, everyone else, you're still here. Okay. So you always start, look, good old business analysis. Give me a goal. Give me a why. Why are we looking at the data in the first place? I know it seems like a little simple, but think about it. Before you go running looking for data, before you start pulling spreadsheets and exporting stuff, what question are you answering? What do you hope the data is supposed to help you do with it? Getting that business need first, it's like, seems kind of, simple for us, great business analysts, but we skip that step because we get too excited of the data. If you pause for just a quick second and say, what question am I trying to answer? What decision are we trying to make here? Where are you trying to go with that first? It'll save you so much time. I don't know about you, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. It's because we can get data. What are we going to do with it? Just because we can show stuff on there. So always start with the goal. And there's this break things down. Okay, sometimes we're a little too big. We're going to solve world hunger. Great. What are we doing today? What are we going to get done today? Give me a piece of it. And just think about what we already do. The what, the which, the how, the where, the when, the why. Do you know these reasons on here? That all you have to do is ask these questions first, because that goal, we want to do things better. How? Where? Which things are we doing better? When do you want to do it better by? How much do you want to do it better by? See, if we just start asking good BA questions ahead of time, your goal starts getting focused. My BAs, and it's great. Oh, so are we doing good over there?
We're getting the slides back online.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And the slides, if you don't have them, I will always reshare them. And please ask me anything, ask for anything. I happily share. So, This is not overcomplicated because like I think as VAs especially have heard of like a few tricks and tools like what was it? Oh, I think it was I lost my clicker. Can you go back to the slideshow though, please? My clicker don't click. I have business requirements. Functional decomposition. Anyone ever hear that before? My BAs on the phone? Yeah, I know. We have to eat our own dog food. It's this weird concept that everyone tells to break things down. We actually have to do it ourselves. Functional decomposition, break down that goal into pieces. Then you can find data to drive it. 5 whys, why? All of you out there with nieces, nephews, and children that drive you nuts, there's hope for them. Don't worry. There's jobs called business analyst out there. So with all those kids running around, ask why. Why do we want to know that information? Why are we going to, look at that option? Why are we going to worry about those products? Ask that up front. And it's amazing that if we spend just that 20% of the time on this part, it'll save 80% of the time with all your data work. So just ask the goal, get clarity on the goal. All right, it's cool. Now I can even see my screen. Okay, so here's the trick now. I love asking questions. This is what the best business analysts can do is ask good questions. Never worry about good answers. Worry about good questions. So what I've broken out here is think about the questions we ask. If something breaks, what would you ask? Something broke. What happened, right? What happened? That's the easiest one, descriptive. The trouble is that's looking behind you. What has happened, okay? Because I want to be data driven, that forward piece. So if I say what happened, and what's normally the second question we ask when something breaks? What happened and, well, why, right? What happened, why? They're both backwards facing. The terms on those are descriptive and diagnostic. Describe what happened, tell me why it happened. The trick is on that is they're not looking backwards, because just because it broke before, does that mean it's going to break again? Is there anything that's telling me about tomorrow? So that backwards and forwards here. Well, when we, wrong button. When we get into how likely is it going to happen again based on what we know? This is a better question because now we're starting to ask about tomorrow. How likely are things going to happen because it happened in the past? Every day that ended on a day, D-A-Y, Jamie wore green. How likely is Jamie going to wear green tomorrow? Is that a true predictor and thing I want to make a determination on that for the last 6 days in a row, Jamie wore green on days that ended Y or not? So do you really want to bet on that? So that's where we get, and we're betting tomorrow on what has happened. How many of you booked travel vacations for 2020? Talked to my husband, finally into first class tickets, international, never to be ever seen again. Okay, those had to cancel. Oh, and daughter was under 2, so we didn't even have to pay for her. Yeah, that is out the door. International first class travel, that was gone. But we predict based on the past is what we plan the future. Not a guarantee. So where we want to do is what should happen if we do something, not if it's happened past. What can we make happen tomorrow if we do these actions today? When you start changing the questions around to think about your tomorrow based on what we do now, not based on what has been done. This is the data-driven questions. Is going, all right, I can say I know lots about airplanes, but right now, right here, what do I have? What do I want to make happen tomorrow? If I switch my seats for tomorrow's airplane ride to the one that has less filled, do I have a better chance to try to get the upgrade? Because I'm not looking at what I've done in the past. There's no guarantee. I'm looking at where I am now, and I am 5th on the list. That one, I would be 2 on the list. Should I let that drive my decision making? What could happen tomorrow? What could I make happen? And this is a weird thing, but this is what we mean by data driven. So simply shift your questions. This is the part where it's like the ooh, ah. See, this is the magic insights of what BAs do, is we just see this, that this is what we're talking about with data driven. Shift your questions when you ask, okay, here's what we're going to do, why we want to do it. So let's think about what we can make happen tomorrow to get there. What can we make happen? Then you ask the questions about the data. See how we start getting forward facing ahead of it actually, and just use it to support us. That's why it's the data driven. Just remember that you're driving the bus. Data is not driving the bus and you're dragging behind it, okay? You need to be in front of the bus pulling the data with you. It's the luggage, okay? It is not the rolling ball of fire rolling over you down the hill like all our projects are, okay? So with this, once you ask, what's going to help your business tomorrow? This is a great question on this. What do you want to happen? Even if you looked at your past data, what do you want to make happen tomorrow? So again, not guaranteed, but you've seen it. Where do you want it to be? So it's okay to still look behind. You know, if you don't know your past failures, you're doomed to repeat them, right? That's what history is. It's simply though asking not how do we avoid it, it's how do we make this new scenario happen? That's where we want to go with it. What can we drive to knowing what happens? It doesn't have to be your trends, it can be others. What do we want to make happen? And we have those major disruptions where it's what can we push forward, even though we've seen things. So like you're still allowed to acknowledge it, like don't throw it out the window, everything passed, you can acknowledge it. Keep your questions though forward facing. This is really the best blend. I might get excited. I'm like, woohoo, I just got asked really good questions. All you have to do on this, I know, simple, right? Piece of cake. So again, the part is we're not ignoring it. We're moving forward on it. So getting the data. Here's the piece. You got to go get data. Let's get some data. First, I want you to do is what do I have access to? Right now, especially those on the computer for us right now, look at all the applications you have in your data or on your laptop right now. How many applications do you have open right now? Do you remember off the top of your head or on our laptop?
I probably have 10.
10. Okay. Do they have data, most of them? Okay. So we have, look at that. She has 10 different applications open right now with data at her fingertips. You don't have to go pull some crazy report. How many of you access the CRM, ERP? You have the Outlook emails, you know, do you have contacts? Do you work on Teams? How much is at your fingertips without even looking around? It's just there. Might have to finesse it, might have to pull it together. Then I go call the data person who helps me figure it out, but is it right there at your fingertips? Now, once you do that though, what do you need access to? What do you want to know about? Now, it's not the data points, it's the information that'll answer which questions. That's what I need. I need information about what? I'll show you some examples here what I mean on this a little bit more. Now, here's the part that really blows my mind. Alternative sources of data. This one first is pretty easy. If I can't get the marketing doesn't have all the profit data for us on what we've spent, well, I'll go to finance. Finance has that data. You know, they have all the data on what's been spent or what's been earned. You know, I can get that. See, so alternative. Don't just have to go to marketing. Ask who else would have that same data. Here's the cool part where I think we need to do a better job, especially educating those we work with. This one is the alternative, okay, and substitutes. So alternatives, different option. Substitute. I can't give you customer data, but if I could get you the website traffic, would that give you information about your customer? So it's not the same data. It's a substitute, right? Like you say, this is where we're looking for something that would substitute to still what? Answer my questions. So this is where I think we try to get better, because I've watched companies, they're like, oh, let's build a CRM then. We need to start tracking this. I'm like, you have this already. You just don't call it that. You call it something else. How much does your help desk have already? The IT teams, ask them what data they're collecting. Oh, the security team, those guys that drive you nuts, guys and gals, sorry, mostly it's guys. I'll say that openly on that part, but they drive you nuts, right? They don't open up anything. Well, they're tracking every single little detail. That's great information. A lot of data you can use and stuff. And yes, I say that being the one actively talking about cybersecurity requirements. So I have no shame on that. Here's the piece. Who can you ask for help? We're alone. We don't need to be a lone wolf. We're team members. Who knows data in your organizations? Do you know that right off the top of your head? Who works with data? Who's in data? Who's using it? Who gets access to it? You need to have those people right next to your keyboard. You need to reach out to them. You know what's really cool is a lot of them don't know why anyone uses data. If you have any data teams, especially that are really concentrated, they don't realize what people are doing with it because they're like order takers. They get the data and they send the data. Tell them what you're doing. Go hang out with them for a few hours. Sit next to them. See, like learn a few things in Excel. Like it's pretty cool. I have to write those things down, you know, before I go back and Google them. But this is where you start building that package together. This is how you can make better direction forward on your data. Make sense so far? Are you okay so with me? No food comas. There's no food here, by the way. No food. No, they are not nibbling on anything. We're sending you virtual food. Okay. All right. So asking for data. Here's a cool thing. This is how you ask for data from now on. I want what, because why, so I need which data. Start every sentence out with, here's what I'm looking for, not the data. I want customer data so we can make decisions around our next year's products. So I'm looking for data about this. Here's the coolest part. Humans are awesome creatures. They will always tell you when you're wrong. Never doubt it. So if you come in and say, I need data on our last year's product sales, they'll say, a good data person will say, no, you don't. You need this. You've got to give me though the what and why. We skip that. We just go running around. Danelicus, I need data on this. Really? Like she might give me something and yeah, she'll ask why. Okay, give her the why, give her the what. And what I love to do on this, leave the last one blank. I'm coming to you. I'm interested in what products we already have, which ones are most profitable, because I am making decisions about them next year. So what data would you recommend I look at? Ask that question. Leave it blank. Let the data expert fill in that data question. You don't have to have the answer if you're not a data person. It's just really weird thought that we wouldn't tell someone else how to do their job. Like when you hire a plumber, you don't come in and say, oh, don't use that wrench. No. You know, plumber, I have no clue. I hired you because I don't know what I'm doing. Same thing with the data people. If you don't know what data you need, don't tell them which data, ask them for it. The trick is you got to give them that structure, give them some template place they can use so they know where you're going with it. Because they might have insights. So, you know, we pulled this stuff before, but I think you need this. It's great. Have a conversation with them. You know, that it's not have to be order takers. It's not all on your shoulders. I know. You checked all your decision-making authority at the door when you became a BA, but you know, just because it's your responsibility doesn't mean you can't be collaborative on it. And don't worry, it's all their great job when they do it, that it works well. So sorry for that job description, but that's how it works. Now, okay, here's my favorite part, because you're going to get some data. And there's this thing called correlation and causation. Okay, so with this, when we talk about causation, can you say with 100% certainty, if A, then B? That is causation. A causes B. So think about it. I mean, anything today you want to say 100% certainty other than taxes? I say that taxes is the only thing I know, because like even death is going out the window. I've heard 120. Okay, here's a trick. If you think A causes B or B causes A, flip it around. If A sounds like causing, oh, it's on our computer. Oh, trying to get it off the screen. The top part. Oh, it's just showing on your monitor. I'm trying to restate the title so that I've seen it. So thank you though. On here, if you're feeling like A causes B, flip it around. Does B cause A? If it sounds like it might work back and forth, then there's not causation. It's a correlation. It just happened to be related. Correlation means relationship. Causation means one drives the other. And so again, do I know what's probably going to happen based on my data? This is that causation versus correlation. So pop quiz. This is a pop quiz. Correlation or causation. I love this. The neighborhood that orders the most delivery pizza also has the highest crime rate. Looking at their data. Is that correlation or causation? Correlation. Highest crime rate. I'm not gonna leave my house, so I go to order pizza, or just for the highest pizza coming around, those poor pizza delivery people, right? Okay, okay, let's try another one. Oh, can you click back on the PowerPoint? Thanks. Okay. Nope. Are you on it? Oop, I lost my clicker. Click next. Next. Now you get to be slide clicker. Official dude. Okay, there we go. Employees with the highest number of help desk tickets also had the lowest amount of training hours logged. Would you call that a correlation or causation? Why causation? Maybe they'll get their tickets quicker, right? Lower test, they know what they're doing. And we heard some correlation though. I heard correlation.
I still think it's correlation until you know more information. I mean, like what that says is there's definitely a correlation. Whether there's causation, can't tell.
So, okay, all my BAs in the room, you want the secret answer to always be right 100% of the time? You'll start everything out, every sentence you ever say comes out of your mouth. It depends. It depends. Is the training, was it on how to do help desk tickets, or was the training on how to spin circles in the parking lot? Then it doesn't matter what the help desk tickets are, it depends. So to your point, absolutely ask for more information. Okay, now this is the stumper on here. Projects with business analysts assigned full-time, finished on time, on budget with original scope more often than projects without full-time business analysts. Correlation or causation? It depends. We're gonna split the room on the PM's VA in the room here, huh? I loved it. My best answer I heard on this one was fact. That's fact, okay? That is fact, okay? But like here you can see how we're thinking through. Just because A or seems to be related to B, did it cause it? Because what you're looking for is you're looking for that causation, because that's going to allow you to drive the forward behavior. If A causes B, that's what I'm interested in, because I want to cause that behavior or that action, that outcome. So again, you're asking what's important. Now that's my clicker again. No. Okay. Why are the data relationships important? So just ask why. I love it. Hey, we found that this correlated with this. Here's my favorite question I love to ask, which also got me in trouble. So what? Seriously, ask that around the business. I mean, ask it politically correct, please. Okay, like remember that. But like, say, oh, why is that important? So what? So what? A caused B. So what? Do we care? Is that important? Does it matter? Like just because they correlate, ask them why that relationship is so important. What's the point of knowing the causation? Are you going to do something? Come in. Yeah, we're easy. Eat food, drink it, be merry. All right. What's the point of knowing the causation? So once you know A causes B, again, so what? What are you going to do with it?
So you can drive behavior, so you can drive results.
Yes.
Desired results.
Desired results. So we also want to, let's drive the behavior we were after in the first place, back to the goal, right? We got to go back to that goal. So just because I can make the product prices increase, which might drive more revenue, should I be driving those up? What if my goal is back on customer longevity? I don't want to necessarily drive up prices. Now longevity for profits, now we might see some options. See, it depends. The two answers I always give all of these at my BA classes is you always start as it depends. So you're always right. And you know what the technique is to use? So you're always right on the techniques, whichever one works. That's the right technique at the right time with the right people in the right context. Okay. All right. Really though, ask here, this is where the business analyst comes back into play. What could the business do with that information? When you know an A will cause B to happen, so what does it matter to the business? What are we going to do with that? Because this is where we say we want that actions on there. Oops. So I say the so what. See, there we go. Have it. Okay, now create an action statement. I like simple. I like easy. And of course, for BAs, we like templates. So here's what you do. You need to create an action statement with all this information, right? We always have to have a template. As our goal is to insert goal here, we should, what action? This is how you start your statements. You want to drive really good project meetings and the PM can't keep them on track and it's a meeting to have a meeting to have a meeting. Just jump in and say, as our goal is to increase revenue, we were looking to do which action? Start with that goal. Always leave at the goal. Oops, sorry, I'm button happy. Stop. As our goal is to increase revenue, we should focus our efforts on our profitable products. Didn't say which project to do. Didn't build a whole business case. Just simply restated, if this is our goal, here's the direction we want to take. This is where we need to. What's cool is I love about BAs, if you give me solutions, there's lots of ways how to do it. If you give me a product, a thing, a process, a software, my favorite, that's one thing. I solve one answer with one thing. If you start shifting us back to our goal and tell me what the data is saying we should start looking at, now there's a million ways to solve it. Now we can start building out the details of the business case, but I need that data-informed direction to take. I need to know where we want to go. So that's why I like these action statements. As our goal is to connect with a younger customer base, we should invest in mobile solutions. Now notice there, here's where we got to start layering in the context of the environment, your organization. I like this last one just to help me transition. Because just because we can doesn't mean we should. Here's where we'd have to ask the question, build or buy. We've never built a mobile app before in our lives. We're not mobile. We don't even have like our website is barely mobile friendly. Yet we've made the decision we should invest in mobile solutions. Can you see where now like we need to have that discussion about what's our context of our environment, start pulling in? Just because we want to go there, now we need to start layering the business analysis pieces on it. See, we're still data driven. We're still looking that direction. Now let's pull in what we do know where we're at now so that we get that future state. Not what we've done. Here we've got a direction. We should invest in mobile solutions. Now let's talk the details of how. This is what's great. I love about business analysts because they give us more that little focus of where we should be going. Not want to go or, like even feel we need to go, but should be going. Because again, just because we can fix the old projects and products and everything else that broke, are they worth the time and effort? You got to look at it holistically. You got to start shifting it. This is where we start putting things in the context of the business. Now, here's the trick though. We got all this data. Visually present conclusions. Okay, notice I said on there, visually present conclusions, not data. We don't present data. We present what the data shows us. So how many of you like to do charts and graphs and pictures? We like it, and Denelica's over there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Denelica's, if we're going to show forward movement, upward, give me a graph that shows forward movement. Show me up. Give me something on here. If you're going to talk about people and you want more, put people on the screen. I know it's like this weird thought on here. Okay, if you want me to make a decision, can you make it as obvious as possible? Okay, higher up the food chain in your organization, the smaller or the more simpler the pictures have to get. Okay, remember the pre-K picture books, those are great for executives. Okay, on there, if you're going to talk about money, so many times people have talked about money and don't show me the money. Okay, do it at work. Show me the money. If we're going to talk about it, I gotta relate on here. Here's what y'all do though. You put every chart and the graph and possible detailed diagram piece on one thing. They're just going, oh, that's a pretty picture. And remember, half your audience is colorblind, by the way. So all your red and greens went out the window. Okay. Remember that. Come on. You have got to make this accessible. When you present conclusions, what the data shows, one thing at a time, and you pull it front and center. I know it's back to simple grade school. Give them one picture per slide, okay? The old rules, just don't even put data on there. Just put the basics you can and say, here's what I want to show you. And put it front and center. So I know all of you get to go back and look at your presentations, everything else. Analicus is already redoing every IIBA one out there. All right, but look at your conclusions. Visually present the images that convey, though, not the data, convey the action. What do you want people to do? You're trying to help inform their decision making on this. What is your audience going to connect to? Again, if it's my money, don't show me my money. Show me what I get for my money. Show me where it's going. Think about it. Anyone ever do the donations runs and everything else? Like they're highlighting what the kids are doing with their careers. Your donations of clothing, they're highlighting how many jobs people got, new jobs because they wore your clothing. They're showing you that end result. You connect to that. You resonate. They don't say, here's the piles of bags that we're sorting of all your leftover crud that you left at our doorstep. They show you what people are doing and changing the world because they got a new job with a new suit that you donated. That's the feeling you want there. It is one item at a time. Okay, give me one thing at a time. Let people's minds digest. They might be busy, checking email, all the texting, chats, 15 Zoom calls that forgot to give them a bathroom break in between. They're busy people. So take that in count and just always ask if you're doing more than one at a time. Does any slide, picture, image, is it trying to convey more than one thing at a time? Because you will confuse your audience. You're not towards that single behavior you're looking for. And it helps. Remember, lots of little things add up to big things. But everyone's going to be lost if you give me one big thing. Everyone will go a different direction. That's the spaghetti. And then use that action statement. I want what? So here's why I need it. So this is the data I need. So turn it into, as our goal is this, we should look at this. As our goal. Is it one of the best things I teach VAs all the time? No matter what you're doing, not just data, always start off with, as our goal is this, It's really great. As their goal is to decrease our technology footprint, you want to buy a 7th version of the same app and software we already have 6 others sitting around. Is that correct? I just want to double check. You said it, not me. As our goal was to reduce it, I just want to clarify. You want to buy a 7th version of the 6 we already have. Just checking. Remember, no decision-making authority whatsoever. Sorry, that was checked at the door. I'm just trying to inform them what they're using. So focus back on the goal. And again, as I said, drive that action. Drive that next step is what you want to do. Now, you do need to share your story. You are storytellers in this world of data. This is one thing we can definitely help our data friends on. They're very good at telling us ones and zeros. Let them know what's the story. Does anyone remember some of their childhood fairy tales and stories? They give no clue what happens, but the hero rides off with the princess and they live happily ever after. I have no clue what exactly happened in the details, and I'm realizing how many details I forgot now having a young child. But I know generally how it starts, and then I know the ending. I know that fairy tale ending. You give me the fairy tale. Give me that fairy tale ending. When you present, you got to tell me the story. Give me the climax and who's the hero, saving the day, or the heroine. Tell me what we're overcoming and how good we are when we ride off into the sunset. It's okay to say that in business meetings. Make it that fairy tale ending, because you then are also driving the behavior. You're driving that desire to that end goal. And people can picture something. Give them something to picture, not just, again, the data. Give me the picture of how happy it looks. Like I said, the donations to Goodwill, they're not showing you all the donations to Goodwill. They're not showing you the store. They're showing you the people with new jobs because they got a suit. And you're like, really? Because I donated my old stuff from the back of my, grandma's closet. Someone else is like living their best life ever. I go, okay, I can change the world one donation at a time. I'm starting to feel this. So you show me that fairy tale. You got to tell me that story. You got to take me through it. And it's got to be resonate with your audience. I think BAs are supposed to know their stakeholders and the context. I think there were some things that's changing, like those minor details, I think, on that BACCM. Bring it back into context of them. Pull out your stakeholder analysis. Yes, you have to do stakeholder analysis when you work with data. It's good. Pull it out and go back and see if your story resonates with your stakeholders. If you have a technical audience, resonate with a technical audience. If you don't have a technical audience, please do not give them a technical story. Okay? They don't like it. And remember, what do you want to be remembered for? Jamie's going to leave this meeting saving the world. Jamie's going to leave here changing the world for the better. This company is going to be better because we're going to do this when Jamie walked out the door. Like, seriously, think about that. If you are pitching something, you've got to have that story left there. It's not a mic drop and walk out, okay? You got to leave the seed that they grow it and go, that's the idea we want. Get them picturing in their minds. Pop quiz. Requirement. Anyone remember the definition of a requirement? I see VAPs in the room. Come on, you know it?
Off the book, though.
Does not everyone else read the Bible for bedtime every night to fall asleep? It's great. You don't even make it to chapter 2. You don't even make it to chapter 2. When you can't sleep, you read the Bad Book Guide. Okay. The requirement is a usable representation of a need. Think about it. That's exactly what you're doing with your data. Give them a usable picture of where we need to go. That's your storytelling ending. See, I told you, BAs write storytellings all the time. Requirements. That's what they are. Just give me the big requirement on there. So then drive the action in the context of the business. Like I said, if we've never built a mobile app before, let's not go say that's what we got to do, but we could look at mobile technologies. We'll do the buy versus build. We'll outsource it. We'll see what opportunities, where are the gaps? Where can we start leveraging? Does our competition do this today? If the competition doesn't do it today, hey, maybe we should look into it. Maybe we should consider those options. What does the organization have to do to take full advantage of that direction? We should go this way. We might need to reorganize. We might need to rethink how we do our budgeting cycle. This is the direction we take, but we might need to consider what other aspects of the organization. We were just having a conversation. Hard to be very agile when you have a very linear budgeting cycle, HR cycle, but they tell you be agile. Oh, but I want your 5-year budget. Okay, minor little detail there. Put it in the context. We got to be good context. And here's what I love, especially because of the last 3 years in turbulent times, is what you recommend today. Will it still be valid tomorrow? Can it still hold up to the next year? 6 months? I mean, think about your budgeting, your annual cycles, how your company operates. Give me a recommendation that we can go up and down across the line as long as we're still going that way. That's why I love those. As our goal is to increase profits, we should look at profitable products. What a thought, we dump the ones that aren't very profitable, but they weren't looking at the data. They weren't looking at that. As long as we find profitable products, let's keep moving that way. It'll show us to a profit margin we want. And then that's where I get into the BAs. You are the solution providers, not a product provider, not a project completion person. You are a solution. So before, during, and after the change, what needs to happen? What keeps it happen? What I always put in here, the business ownership. Do you have ownership of the data? Who makes the decisions? So if you're going to pull any data, and what I mean on this, say you go do something. Who's going to pull the data after you've made the change? This is what I mean on the difference of a solution versus project. Project, wipe their hands, done, out the doors, implement it. Who's going to look at the data? I did 72 iPads for a company, got them all configured, deployed, trained, ready to go. 6 months later, they're all sitting in a closet because they didn't want to do that wireless assessment thing. No wireless, no usage. They had 72 paperweights. Not a solution. But the project was on time, on budget, on scope, right on scope. Me and PM I think that's why I innovated myself out on that job. Yeah, but seriously, who manages the data? Who's going to watch your data after you've done? So if we start picking those other profits, who's watching it? Do you have any ownership on that? That's part of your solution. That's what I mean by solution. Pull the whole thing in so that it keeps getting value. Just because we launch a new product, how are you going to make sure it's valuable next year? How are we going to get the most out of it? Are we process improving? Who's going to do it? And normally what comes into play is the ownership here. Who is making decisions? Whose butt is on the line if it doesn't go well? I love that part when people have to come back like 6 months later, a year later and say, hey, we said we'd make $1 million. We made like 50 bucks. Someone look at it, right? Who's going to look at it though? Careful, if you left your name on all the SharePoint documents, guess who's getting called, by the way? The BA is great for getting called on those ones. You want to know who owns the decision making for the next step. Who's making decisions constantly? Get your ownership in there. All right, so here's, you know what the cool thing on the operational support? There's this thing called a racing matrix. Yeah, customer data, just lay it out. Who's going to watch the customer data? We have business operations in this example. Marketing directors in charge of that. Did you let IT know we're tracking any of that stuff? Might be good, you know, like when you share who's tracking it. Finance and risk, we let them know, by the way, you know, they might need some of that stuff as they're doing things. Website traffic, who's going to watch it? IT operations. We have a network admin that's accountable on that piece. Security definitely wants to know what's going on with our website traffic. But, oh, by the way, we could tell marketing. You have lots of mobile users. You have lots of Chrome users. Let people know where they're coming from. So just build out a racing matrix of this. Anyone have data governance teams? If you have one at your company, those are awesome people to work with on there. So they know all about the data. They know what's out there, what should be, and they help you prep to get more and that it's managed. I love working with data governance teams because they actually keep it going on there. It's not a one and done project related. So just do it. All right. So I put in here, I have everything I just covered. I have a cheat sheet of how to do it. If you want to, you can download it for free. If you can't get the QR code, it's on the website, whichever, just scan it and tell me and I can email it to you. But everything I just talked about today, and I'll make sure you have it just if you want to post as well on the website. I have it a cheat sheet because I like simple. And I know I get really excited about this.